Welcome back to a special edition of the show. Joe Biden promised to, quote, end fossil fuels during his campaign, and he's actually followed through on that promise. Biden has canceled drilling permits, he shut down pipeline, he sanctioned oil markets, and those are the reasons that gas prices have risen to their highest point ever and stayed there. Over the Department of Transportation, Mayor Pete has a solution. Just buy a $60,000 electric car that doesn't work and that we can turn off if we don't like you. Here's how Thomas Massie of Kentucky responded to that idea at a recent hearing.
If that average household plugged in electric cars, do you know how much more electricity they would use in comparison to the air conditioning that air conditions their whole house?
No, but again, I would emphasize it will.
Well, let me help you with that first before we go on, because the numbers are important. It would take 4 times as much electricity to charge the average household's cars as the average household uses on air conditioning. Do you think that could be, so if we reach the goal by 2030 that Biden has of 50% adoption instead of 100% adoption, that means the average household would use twice as much electricity charging one of their cars as they would use for all of the air conditioning that they use for the entire year.
It's so good. You can't really overstate the contempt we feel for almost all members of Congress. There are a few good ones, and there are a couple of great ones. Thomas Massie is a great one. He represents Kentucky in the House of Representatives. He joins us tonight. Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. Were you surprised that the Transportation Secretary, who's lecturing you about renewables and energy, had no idea what the numbers were?
I wasn't surprised. Look, their plans are based on political science, not physics and engineering. And by the way, one of those people you showed in your monologue, those highly credentialed economists, was my intro to macroeconomics professor at MIT, Paul Krugman, 30 years ago. I knew for 30 years he was full of it. And so that's why I knew the plans this year wouldn't work. But on to Buttigieg. Look, the reality is if they do know,